Welcome on the Sunset Safari, everyone. My name's Brent. I've got Andrew on camera with me, James and Phil on the other vehicle, and we have Tara and Eugene and FC. Hopefully, it looks like we're going to have two fully functional vehicles today, so really exciting. For those of you who might have missed the sunrise safari, we had gremlins in the air again, playing with all the satellites, so we do apologize for that very late start again. But we did have a fantastic, even though it started a couple hours late, we had those two big Matimba male lions feeding on a warthog. So that was sorry guys, that was actually unbelievable. So our plan for the sunset safari is we're going to go, James and I are going to both work in the same area. We got a report from friends in the western side that Sandile crossed into Djuma late this morning. So we're both going to go have a look in that area, see if we can find him, and then when it gets a bit cooler, we're going to go head towards the Styx and Matimba lions, and hopefully they'll be a bit more active. At the moment, I'm quite sure they're very flat cats. So let's get going and see what we can find. And also, don't forget, this evening is fireside chat. So I'm sure James has got something special for the last few minutes with the song up his sleeve. And it'll be good to have a good catch up and refresh on what we've been up to and what we've seen this last week on Arathusa and Djuma private game reserves. That's just James. We're configuring our plan of deployment to try to find this leopard. Copy, thanks very much, Jamesy. I'm on about to be around Sandy Patch now, and I'll check the cut line through to around Sandy down. So basically what we're doing, we've heard that Sandile has gone into this block. It's not a very big block, and it's quite a strange shape. It's almost triangular, so maybe a triangle rather than a block. And we're hoping he hasn't crossed back out in the day. Oh, sorry, Andrew, 1 second. No, not the Wildebeest. We'll get to him in a second. Let me just find something to deal with this. There, before it becomes a problem on your lens, there's a little bug. So, oh no, he flew away. It was a really, really, really beautiful little ladybird that was climbing on the camera, but unfortunately it took off before we could see it. So we will definitely try to keep a lookout for some more hohos as well. Hohos is a South African colloquialism for bugs. It is winter, so there's less of them around, but that could make it more fun, a little bit more challenging to find them. Coming up, we have a gnu. Hello, Wildebeest. So, a lone bull wildebeest. He holds a territory around here from here down towards Sandy Patch, and he's waiting for the ladies to come visit. Female wildebeest will move between different bulls' territories. Let me just get a little bit closer to him. Very funny looking animal. So even though it might look like a cow, it's not. It's most definitely an antelope, so it's not related to cows. Very big bull, very big body size. I'll just try reverse again. Quite interestingly, you can never know for sure, but I've always wondered, and I've thought quite long and hard about where wildebeest has got its name from. And because it's a direct, it's actually a Dutch origin. I'm just gonna stop here and how's that for you? That's good. Of Dutch origin originally. Now he's going back the other way. So basically translated to wild cow, even though they're not related to the cows, or wild beast or wild cow, Wildebeest. And my thinking of, hopefully he's going to move, otherwise we're going to play round and round the Combretum bush. There we go, he should walk out. So my theory is that the first Dutch settlers and whatnot that arrived in South Africa, and specifically in the Western Cape, around Cape Town, they used to use it as a refueling point before the Suez Canal and whatnot, for the spice trade from the Spice Islands. So the first Dutch settlers that probably went off hunting to try to get some meat, would have seen this thing, and it does look more like a cow than anything else. And I think they went, oh, there's a wildebeest, there's a wild beast or wild cow. So obviously you can't be sure about that, but I think that's probably where the original name for wildebeest comes from. You can see, even though he's grazing, he's still very attentive, listening. In the traditional, I'm trying to remember, is it Tswana or Zulu? I'll remember just now. The wildebeest has got quite a nice little story about them, why they look so strange. And it's to say that the wildebeest was the laziest animal when the creator was handing out body parts. And so he got there right at the end, once everyone else had had the choice of all the good stuff. And his horns look too small for his body, and his nose is too long, and his funny humped shoulders. But so they were very lazy, and he was the last animal to arrive when the creator was giving out all the pretty... What do you got there, Andrew? Oh, well spotted. All the pretty body parts. I can't see what it is actually from here. It's got something in its talons, though. Did you have a look what it was, Andrew?
Negative.
Quite a big bird. Got something in its talons. I'll try have a look with my binos. Good spot, Andrew. It's an African fish eagle, but I don't think it's got a fish. It actually looked more like a bird. I noticed where it's gone down, so what we'll do is when we go around there, we'll actually try stop and see if it's perched near a dam that's down there. But back to the old wildy. So shame, got all the funny leftover body parts, and that's why they're so funny looking. I think we'll... Oh, what was that just behind the wildebeest? Something dropped into the grass. Hi, Gilly from Wisconsin. Thanks very much, Gilly. Gilly's done some research, and the Afrikaans name is apparently because they're very menacing looking with those sharp horns and shaggy beard. Oh, and there's a drongo scooping up over his shoulders. So thanks very much for that, Gilly. So I know you guys had a fantastic drongo sighting with James. You can see there, as the wildebeest's moving, the drongo is hawking, so trying to catch any insects that are disturbed by the wildebeest while it's... Oh, it's not a drongo though. That is a starling doing the same thing. There was a drongo as well, but looks like a little Cape glossy starling. But let's continue on. Let's go see if we can see what was in those fish eagles' talons. To me, it looked more like a bird, possibly, than an actual fish. Sorry, Nu. Watch out for them lions. So a nice warm winter's afternoon. I'm guessing probably around 26, 27 degrees Celsius. I'm trying to remember. I'm getting better at this Fahrenheit degree Celsius thing, but guessing that's probably in the 80s somewhere. Low 80s. So that fish eagle headed off down here towards Sydney's dam. Just gonna have a look. There's some dead trees around. There might be a chance that it's gone to perch to feed there. Oh, very interesting. So Raisa has sent through some very interesting information to me. Just quickly, we're going to have a look. There we've got some white helmet shrikes. How many can we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Seven Sisters, which was one of their nicknames. All feeding. The 7 or 8? 2, 5, 6, 7. So this is actually the first time in a long time I've actually seen seven sisters together. There's normally 8 or 6 or 9, but afternoon orbs. There's Ngalo were left flying up on Mamba Junction with twin dams on the road. I got a report from the west that Shadows Mantuan has crossed around One Eye Pan, so James and I are in that area following up to see if we can find any Nkonzo, and then I'll be making my way back towards Ngalo later in the drive. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just chatting to the Aubrey, who's one of the guides from Juma. So we've got some really fascinating information from Raisa, who's a long-time viewer, for those of you who might not know. Raisa would like to put a quiz to all of us, myself included. We had a really interesting discussion. Raisa found some great information for me on lions' taste buds this morning. And it turned out a lion has 470 taste buds. I think a pig has 15,000 and we have about 10,000. She says, what animal has the most taste buds out of all animals? And and apparently it's hundreds of thousands, and that animal also occurs in our Traverse area. So really interesting. Andrew, any ideas? I'm not sure. I think I have a sneaky suspicion what it is, but I'm not going to venture a guess just yet.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Really good question, right? So thanks very much for that. So that's for all of us. Myself, Andrew, the viewers. I actually might even pass it on to James. Oh, see if he knows as well. So, and if you do know, you can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. So we're just going to have a quick squiz down here to see if we can spot that fish eagle that was carrying something. It might have flown to one of these dead trees next to the water. I haven't spotted the fish eagle yet, but I've spotted something else. And quite common practice this time of the year. So while I peruse the area with my binoculars to see if I can spot that fish eagle, Andrew's going to show you something else a bit interesting. It is quite far. Sydney's Dam is outside of our Traverse area, but there's quite a nice group of hippopotamus there enjoying the late afternoon sun. Quite common for hippos to do that at this time of the year. The water can be a bit cold, so you do get them basking out on sandbanks like that. Little ones there on the left. No sign of that fish eagle that was carrying, which I guess looked like an aquatic bird of some kind, like a duck or a goose. Just checking all the dead trees very carefully, just in case I'm missing it. And you see that incredible amount of haze and dust that we get at this time of the year. Nope. No such luck. It's going to have to remain a mystery what that fish eagle was eating. So just bear with me for a few seconds, guys. Sometimes when we sometimes get a bit of bad signal as we go through this area here, and we're going to head in this area to see if we can find that young male leopard's tracks. So we're going to cross over to Commander Bond, see what he's been up to, and we'll be back with you a little bit later.
Hello everyone and welcome to Wendy. We have been working on Wendy for some time, as you know. More accurately, Eugenius has been working on Wendy, and she seems to have been mollycoddled into some form of function, which is good news. Very nice to be back with two of us in the bush here. Brent and Andrew on the other vehicle. We have Phil behind camera on Wendy, and my name is James, for those of you who don't know. It's a balmy 27 degrees apparently, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, not bad for a week off the winter solstice. And what we're trying to do at the moment is follow up on Shadow's cub. Now Shadow, if you don't know, is a female leopard in this area, and she has a cub, sorry about that, who is almost 10 months old, and his name apparently is Sindile. And so and he was seen in this area earlier, or during the midday today. And so we're going to try and find him here. I haven't unfortunately seen any tracks as yet, so we're flying blind, as it were. Like I say, it's very nice to be back on board, and if you have any questions or comments, we love to hear from you. Hashtag Safari Live or questions at wildearth.tv. I believe Brent has already shown you some magnificent animals, which is marvelous. Good start. But the cat is what I'm after today, but we'll find a whole lot of other delights, I'm sure, on the way. So here we go. It's been an unusually hot day for this time of year, at least sort of 6 degrees hotter than it was yesterday. And that means that the flies have come out in great force and have been attacking me constantly for the last half hour. The road that we're on at the moment is the break or cut line between two of the farms within the Sabi Sands. To my left we've got Juma, and to my right we have Arathusa. I'm just going to... So that's Arathusa you're looking at now, and Arathusa is a Pedi word. Pedi is a language in South Africa, and Arathusa means let us help. On the left hand side of the road we have Juma, and apparently Juma is the word that we get from, it's the onomatopoeic Shangaan word for the sort of contact call that a lion makes. It's Joo, Joo, Juma. Apparently that's where they get the name from. So we have two different languages, two different sides of the road. When we get to our next junction, we're going to head off a bit to the east and see if we can't pick up some of the other tracks. Apparently there's some concern for Phil, who's on camera. He managed to damage his knee playing touch rugby the other day. He collapsed in a heap, very uneven field, and he stepped in a hole and managed to re-damage an old injury. Thankfully we've taped it back together. I did some minor surgery with a set of pliers and a kitchen knife, and he seems to be back on track. Look, the swelling is quite alarming, but other than that he's okay, and as long as we dose him with a kilogram of morphine before each drive, he's fine. Now, in reality, he really is fine. Right, bit of a bump here, hold on tight. And spill your drinks. So we're now heading into Juma.
See the snakes, see the snake.
I'm just going to go back a bit. What did you see, Phil? There was a snake track. I'm afraid I drove over it. It wasn't very clever of me. Is it a good view? Okay, we'll have a quick look and see. In fact, it's an old drag mark, which is quite nice. Phil, can you try and focus in there?
Spin back to the left.
You get it there?
Yeah.
Right. Now, what I'm going to show you here is quite often mistaken for a snake track, actually. If you look at that drag mark there on the road, what does that look like to you? The giveaway is, of course, the track just behind there at the bottom of your frame there, and that is an elephant track. And what the drag mark on the road is there is his trunk that's been dragged along. So he's just kind of dragged his trunk along the ground, and that's what that's left. Thanks, Phil. That's great. Maureen in the United Kingdom, I believe you're an avid watcher of one of our cameras in Botswana, and you like the Goliath heron that sits there quite often. We do get Goliath heron here, not very common. They like a bit more water than we have here, but every so often a Goliath heron will come in, especially a little bit further south on the Sand River, and we tend to see them more often. Other herons in this area, not quite as abundant as they are in Botswana or in the Okavango. We get grey herons, we get green-backed herons, and then we get some of the egret species. Excuse me 1 second. Hoping against hope that these are leopard tracks, but they are in fact hyena. And we get, what else do we get? The egret species are all sort of herons, and then we get every so often bitterns, dwarf bittern, and then sometimes we get black crowned night heron and white backed night heron. There are quite a few herons. I do have a question coming through apparently, but I'm afraid the radio is not fantastic in this particular place. We'll just go a little bit further up the hill, and then Roger in Wisconsin, I think you are. I'll answer your question. Hello Roger, thank you for your question. It's a good one. If I've heard it correctly, I think I have. You want to know, apparently a few years ago Mark told you that elephants were afraid of planes or possibly of helicopters because of the cull that used to happen in the area when they used to kill up to 900 elephants a year to maintain a number at a sort of fictional optimum. And the answer is yes, there will be a few, but definitely, I mean, I started working in the area about 16 years ago, and certainly between then and now, it's been incredible to see how the elephants have slowly relaxed around humans and vehicles, and they're just generally more relaxed around us. So they'll react far less to any form of human activity, be it us on foot, in vehicles, or indeed in choppers and planes. I'm sure there are one or two though that still have a memory of that time, and they are probably a lot more nervous of flying people. Got a nice little clearing area. This is the kind of central area for Shadow, who is the cub's mother, the one we're looking for. And these young males will stay in their mother's territories until they're about 2 years old, sometimes 2.5. So he's still well within his mum's territory. And he'll start to roam a little bit now on his own, especially when she's gone hunting. Oh, sorry, Phil. We had a lovely bird there, a crested barbet, beautiful bird, but he flew off as soon as I dared stop. No obvious tracks at this stage. He's quite a confiding leopard, this. Not much going on here. Hello Christine in North Carolina. Thank you for your question, it's a lovely one. I'm going to stop the vehicle here. And just so that everybody knows what I'm talking about, I'll show you a picture. Christine, you want to know what's the difference between a cheetah and a king cheetah? A king cheetah, in very broad terms, is a cheetah that has what we call partial melanism. Melanism is the condition that causes leopards, for example, to go black. So you get black leopards, especially on the Indian subcontinent, 1 or 2 in South Africa. And melanism, partial melanism, is what some cheetahs get, and they're called king cheetah. And if you can focus in on this picture here, so everybody, that's what a king cheetah looks like. Instead of just the spots. The spots, because of the partial melanism, which is an increase in black pigment, the spots join up into sort of stripes, and they get this beautiful sort of striped cheetah. See that? That's called a king cheetah. Thank you for that question, all the way from North Carolina. Here in front of us we have a quite exotic animal. He'll hove into view fairly soon. There he is, just to our left. Hello Brent. Have you seen any tracks? I just need to get an update from Brent here, because I've come to where he suggested and we haven't seen anything.
How are you, Squire?
Yes, full of joy.
Full of joy,
yes.
Wonderful.
I have failed to see any tracks.
Did you come down Triple M?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I think they have been driven over by the many vehicles.
No, I even walked there. I think that we have been sold a lark.
I got a hold of the guys in the west again on the radio now.
Yes.
They said it was quite late in the morning.
Okay. All right, I shall continue up this road.
I shall continue this way.
All right.
Hey, I'm going to go look for those lines.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Brent. And Andrew. Now you can see why I talk about Andrew's dress with sense the way I do.
Cameraman, there's strategy.
So I wasn't out much this morning. Phil and I did go out a little bit, but we didn't have much in the way of signal, so didn't spend too much time out. And the road is always a lovely indicator of what's been going on, especially in the morning. This afternoon the only tracks that I can see here are civet tracks, and I haven't seen a civet here, but I always see their tracks. So they're obviously quite common. Hello William, very good name that. I have a nephew called William. You want to know about leucism, which is indeed, as you have surmised, a partial form of albinism, which is the absence of any kind of melanin. And there are different kinds of melanin as far as I understand it, but leucism is a sort of partial absence. So it's not quite albino, and albino is in total absence of pigment at all, and leucism is a partial absence. And animals out here that get leucism are white lions sometimes. Sometimes we see white francolins. And if you want to look at all these color variations, the easiest thing to do is go and look at the common feral pigeon. Those feral pigeons have got all sorts of different color morphs, and you get almost white ones, and that's leucism. You get almost black ones, which you might call melanism, and then you get rufous morphs, or browny red ones. All part of the same species, no real difference. Hello Gilly in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome to the afternoon drive. While we're driving along looking for leopard tracks, you're continuing the conversation about helicopters and elephants and the problems that elephants have had in the past, and you're saying probably they thought that a helicopter is some sort of large predatory bird. They may well have. But I think they would have been dissuaded of that quite quickly, because what the choppers used to do is they would dart the matriarch of the herd and then land, and people would disgorge out of it. So, you know, elephants are pretty intelligent creatures, and so I think they probably figured out quite quickly what was going on there. Hello Craig in Texas, a keen ornithologist from the south of the states. You want to know if we get bustards or kohans here? The answer is yes, we do. We get black-bellied kohan and red-crested kohan. Not very common here, we do get them. And then the odd Kori bustard will come and fly in here. The Kori bustard, in case you don't know, is the world's heaviest flying bird. And that's not to say they fly particularly well. Now, I'm afraid I have failed to pick up tracks of this leopard, so I think we're going to continue slightly south and see if we can't pick up some others, perhaps of shadow. I would also very much like to see some elephants. I haven't seen some ellies for a while. Right, and we're going to go across to Brent while I hie my way south, and he's going to update you on lion tracking activities. See you just now.
Welcome back, everyone. As you saw, we just passed James there. I'm going to move out of the area, let him continue trying to follow up there, and I'm going to head back down towards those lions. We had the most fantastic sighting this morning. We must have arrived about 5 or 6 minutes after the lions killed a young warthog. So what we can also do there is we actually go look at the scene of the crime, so to speak, see what is actually left from that whole saga. So by the time we arrived there, the lionesses had moved off. I'm quite certain they killed it. And the two males were literally just lying on top of it, trying to eat and growling at each other. They weren't very hungry, but they still didn't want to share. It was an incredible sighting. And we're definitely going to go have a look for those lions a little bit later when it cools down. Also, we're going to go have a look at the scene of the crime if they've moved off. You can see how much is actually left and how little goes to waste. Hi, Donna in South Carolina. We got quite a nice question from Donna. Donna would like to know why Andrew wears so much paraphernalia around his face. Well, it's mostly so he keeps quiet. We don't want him to talk very often, so we actually sometimes duct tape that. Quite often it's the flies, so the cameramen are really focused and concentrating to get you those amazing shots. Sorry, let me just turn this game drive radio down for a second. To get those really amazing shots. So unlike me, who beats myself in the face every time a fly comes, the cameramen aren't able to brush away flies like the presenters are. So the stuff he wears around his face just keeps the flies away from his face and stuff, so he can concentrate on bringing you the best shots possible. And I just spot some zebras up ahead. They have been calling an incredible amount over the last few days. I know a lot of you guys have picked it up on the Juma calf, but it's quite nice. It's got a bit drier. We're getting quite a lot of zebra moving onto these top edge of these seep lines. We've got nice short grass. There we go. Oh, trip. So there's some zebra. Wonder where they're off to. They're all walking in a long line down the road, so the opposite to a zebra crossing. So, zebras are far more closely related to donkeys than horses, and there's been many attempts to domesticate them. None have been very successful. The main reason for the attempts to domesticate the zebra was due to the tsetse fly. So obviously they're immune to sleeping sickness. So people who are trading in areas that had lots of tsetse flies thought the zebra would sort of be the perfect pack animal to take over from cows and horses that were getting very ill and dying when coming into these areas. But unfortunately, a zebra's stamina is not really good, and also their backs are not as strong as a sort of a domestic horse or a donkey. They're not really designed to be able to take that weight. And the other really big problem with zebras in terms of domestication is they are probably one of the most temperamental beasts out there. So even buffalo apparently are easier to domesticate than zebra. They just bite and kick and fight. and are quite temperamental. They are very pretty to look at though. You can see their tails are swinging constantly, keeping the flies away, and watch it quite often shaking their heads and their ears. Lots of flies around them. Not quite as much as one of those old buffalo bulls. I wonder if they're heading off to possibly either Treehouse or Juma Dam. They could go either way from here. Heading for a late afternoon sundowner. Oh, got a fright. Suddenly saw some impala and wasn't sure what they were, and they jumped off to the right, so looking with where the impala are. They are looking a little bit nervous. I wonder if they've been harassed by a predator during the night. Oh, they're like, oh, impala, let's go join them. So a lot of your different species will happily graze and feed in the same area. More sets of eyes to keep a lookout for predators. So, just gonna get try to get one last view as they disappear. Join the impala. There we go, some zebras, impala. Maybe they're just looking for some company. We're going to continue on. Quite a lot of nice general game out this afternoon so far on the sunset safari. We've got wildebeest, impala, now zebra. So well done to Ashley, Judith, Wendy, and Natalie, who are the people who got Raisa's quiz correct. And the answer to Raisa's quiz, which a lot of people did get right, so thank you, everyone knows just the first in, was it's catfish that have the most taste buds on their body. And they're actually situated all over their body, but mostly concentrated around the whiskers. They've got 4 whiskers, they're called barbels, and this enables them to actually not only taste when there's prey or food around, but actually locate it. So thank you very much to Raisa for the quiz, and to those of you who got it right, well done. And also the amount of taste buds is said to be between 100 and 150,000. Isn't that absolutely incredible? We might have to look for some catfish today. Look at them a bit new. We'll look at them with a bit more respect. Those catfish we do get here are absolutely incredible. I've found them moving between water sources up to 7-8 kilometers from water at night, and they actually walk on the, not really walk, they squirm, and also they are able to breathe air, so that which makes them able to live in a lot of areas where other fish species wouldn't. They also, during really dry years, can encase themselves in mud and underneath the sort of dry top layer of a pan and wait out till the next rain. So an incredibly adaptable and hardy fish. Hi, Sonia, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Sonia says she thinks the smaller zebra looks pregnant. Do I have an opinion? Sonia, I'm not sure. I don't think so. Zebras quite often look very pregnant. That's because of their digestive system. They're high gut fermenters, so they've got a lot of gas, and they're very flatulent animals, but that always seem to have a very distended belly. I didn't see any really heavy sort of belly signs that she might be pregnant, but then again, I could be wrong, and she could be in the early stages of pregnancy. So the temperature's dropped a little bit. I'm going to start making my way into the area around where the lions were seen, but first I'm just going to have a quick squiz at the hyena den. From what I heard, that before we got to them, those lions actually walked through the den, so it's unlikely that the hyenas are going to be there, but you never know. Maybe they came back to check after the lions had been through here. So everyone, get your eyes out, looking for those little ear flicks or tail flicks under the bushes. As you know, quite often the adults sometimes like to lie a little bit away from the den. There are some tracks leading up to it. Okay, eyes out. Andrew, you got your spotting eyes on? Mm-hmm. Spot an impala just behind there. I don't see a hyena just yet. Hi, Dolly from London, Ontario in Canada. Welcome on the Sunset Safari, Dolly. No hyenas, but we do have other visitors at the hyena den. There's a kudu, there's a male kudu, and there's some females behind him. Dolly would like to know, do predators take down zebra? She says she hasn't heard much of that on the show. She's heard about impala kills and about buffalo kills. Yes, they do, Dolly. Lions are quite partial to zebra in certain areas. Also, probably our two most numerous species in the area of the ungulates are impala and buffalo. So it's possible that's why you haven't heard so much about the zebra being killed, but I've seen a few zebra kills in my time in this area. but there are less zebra than buffalo and impala, so naturally buffalo and impala would be the two most commonly predated species. And we'll leave the kudu to his late evening lunch. So no hyenas here. So I just got an update in my ear from the game drives. For those of you who have been watching for a while and follow the trials and tribulations of the Nkahuma pride, they've been found to the north of us on a buffalo kill. So there we go, Dolly, a buffalo kill, just like that. So fortunately we got the Styx lions around, so otherwise I don't think we're going to be seeing them for a day or two. Could you pass me a piece of duct tape, please? Hi Donna, and welcome again on the Sunset Safari. Donna has asked me to do my male lion call impression again because she's recently found out how Juma got its name. Juma is a lion sort of growling, or that low contact call actually, so not so much the roaring, but that sort of low contact call you hear between lions, sort of grunt. But I will do my lion impression for you shortly. Just make sure we're not too close to other lions. You know, they might charge in and start thinking I'm trying to take over their territory. So just make sure we've got good distance from those two big Matimba males. So, the specific one Donna has asked me to do is not an actual trying to copy a lion one. It's a little story my grandfather and father used to tell me when I was little about what a male lion is saying. So basically a male lion, when he's out there, he says, oh, maybe I had a sip of water before this. So he says, so yeah, I'll give you a, excuse me, well, a good impression of a lion call first, and then you can judge that to what I'm doing now. So I'm just going to turn my, so a male lion call sort of, or most lion calls when they're roaring, when they're using that sort of non-ossified bone in their larynx, the hyoid bone, they call like this. Obviously, male lion's much better than me at doing it. But then the call specifically I've been asked to do is the one I was taught by my grandfather and my father as a kid. I remember what a male lion says and why he says it. And he says, "Whose land is it? Whose land is it? Whose land is it? It's mine. It's mine. It's mine." So there we go, Donna. I hope you enjoyed that. It's a nice little way to remember why lions call quite often, and it's to remind all the other lions that this is their land. So we're going to head into that area, speaking of lions, and start looking for them, see if they've moved, see if we can pick up some tracks. In the meantime, we're going to cross across to Jamesy, see what he's been up to, and we'll see you a little bit later in the show.
Welcome to Wendy, everyone. You find us in a slightly barren wasteland. We don't seem to have found anything in the form of mammal life, and the aerial has just decapitated the cameraman. That's very disconcerting. Never mind. He's holding it up and manning the camera with one hand. Multi-skilling is our fill. You find us now on the western side of our traverse, so on Arethusa, and I'm hoping that the paddy name of Arethusa will in fact do as its name suggests and help us. I'm mostly on the hunt for elephants at the moment, although leopard tracks would be great. We did have a brief view of a couple of buffalo bulls, but that's about it so far. I believe Brent has showed you some kudu and the empty hole where a hyena lives. Well, can we just look at this tree here, please? I'm just going to get a piece of this tree. Hold on 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Right, so, well, there's a bit of a mangled example, but let's just have a look there. Yesterday in the Almost Impossible Tree Quiz, we had a species called Scotia capitata, or the dwarf boerbean. And you can see, I mean, for those of you who managed to identify it, the leaf structure or shape is exactly the same as this. I mean, this one has obviously been savaged by some kind of caterpillar. But the leaf structure is exactly the same, with that what we call a winged rachis. So basically the stalk's got a bit of leaf on it, and exactly the same as the dwarf one, except this one is about 10 times the size, and it's called Scotia brachypatella, or the weeping boerbean. Now, it's called a weeping boerbean because the flowers are bright red and they drip nectar onto the floor. That's where the weeping comes from. A boer is a farmer, and a bean, you know what a bean is. Why it's called a boerbean, I don't know, I'm afraid. Okay, we're going to press on. We're now at the Arethusa airstrip, international airport that it is. Hello, Brenda in Washington State. You want to know where we normally find king cheetah? The answer, and I'm not being facetious, is that we don't normally find them at all. They appear every so often, very rarely, in areas where cheetah occur naturally, and yeah. So I'm afraid, in terms of giving you an answer about where they're normally found, I can't, because it's a genetic mutation that is very rare. Right. In fact, I think we're not going to go this way. We're going to go this way. So I think I might drive off our traversing area if I carry on that way. And so we're going to head towards the large waterhole, Arethusa waterhole, and see if there aren't a plethora of elephants there. Getting a bit breezy up here. Now it's quite high up here, and that's why there's a bit of breeze. The best sighting I've had on a space like this was of some termites, harvested termites that Scott and I had, and just a wonderful sight of them coming out and carrying the grass into their little burrow. And then, oh, hang on a second. Now yesterday, I will continue my termite story later, it's not particularly interesting. Yesterday I promised that I would try and smell the midden of an antelope to see if we could actually find some form of identifiable smell. So I'm going to go over there, Phil, to the left, and we'll have a look-see. Right, so what we have here is an impala midden, and what the impala do is they drop their dung on the floor, and then they scrape their feet, and there's supposed to be some glands in between their toes, or in between the toes of some antelope, especially a wildebeest. I'll show you what they do, and then we'll have a quick smell. So they go to the loo here, then they scrape with their feet, and now we'll have a smell. There is a sort of vague mustiness about it. It's not entirely dissimilar from straight dung, however, so I think that's what I'm getting there. I would like to find a wildebeest one though, and then we'll get a better look. And I don't know if you can focus in on that, Phil. That's an impala is a ruminant, so it chews its food twice, and you can see how incredibly finely chewed that is. Right, that's impala dung. You've all heard the story, or a lot of you have heard the story of bok drol spoeg. We have a couple of strange traditions in this country. Bok drol spoeg translates directly as goat dung spit. And the game consists of taking a piece of goat or impala dung into the mouth and then spitting it and trying to spit it further than your friend. All I can say is that there were obviously people with a lot of time on their hands in this country, and possibly very little in the way of imagination. Anyway, I'm not a champion player of it. I've played it once, probably won't do it again. And that midden would have been abandoned now because the rut is obviously over, and so the impala are no longer rutting. So the territorial males are no longer defending territory. Phil, can we just have a look here? There's a bird running across the airstrip there. Now, it's not a great colourful parrot or vast eagle of any kind. It seems to have disappeared. Oh, there it is. You got him there. Well done, Phil. Brilliant. Just watch as he wags his tail. For the keen ornithologists, he is a pipit of some sort. Probably an African pipit, which is a sort of lark-like bird. I will attempt to find you a picture of him in my book. And they're quite interesting just because they're quite difficult to identify. They eat insects, and they run around on the ground, these sort of we tend to not perhaps give them the respect that they are due because of there he's wagging his tail. Yeah, the grass-felt or African pipit. Common resident, apparently. And there he is there. Boldly marked breast with white, not buff outer tail feathers, blah blah. Yes, the grass-felt or African pipit. Insect eater. There are a whole lot of other things there, Phil. We've got crowned lapwing, a terror of the golf course. Crested francolin. The francolins we've got there now. And the crowned lapwing is the one in the middle there of your shot, and that bird looks fairly innocuous. But I must tell you a story of the time I watched, or certainly heard of, a troop of baboons that was on an airstrip very like this, and the baboons were minding their own business, as much as baboons are able to do that, and they obviously came too close to the nest of one of those crowned lapwings, and these birds, the pair, took off and they started dive bombing the baboons like two sort of angry Spitfires. And as they did it, the baboons took off in terror, about 50 of them, charging down the airstrip at 100 miles an hour. And every time the birds went up and down, and they'd come around from behind the baboons would flatten themselves on the airstrip like that, look around, get up and beat a hasty retreat, and then birds would come around again, they'd dive on the floor again. Absolutely hilarious sight to see. Baboons are not afraid of a great deal, but the crowned lapwing seems to be one of them. Hello, Jim in Decatur, Georgia. Nice question. You want to know, are baboons dangerous to human beings on foot? The answer is, like with so many of the great questions we get, not that simple. First of all, what you need to understand about a baboon is that it is an incredibly strong animal. So, I mean, compared with us, if you think of a human being able to do a one-arm pull-up, so that means to be able to, like a climber, for example, can hold on to a rock and pull himself up on one arm. We think of that sort of person as extremely strong. Now, a baboon is able to do that from birth. Much, much stronger than we are. They've got canines that long, so they can bite. They have sharp nails, and they're very fast. So they are potentially fantastically dangerous to us. But in the wild, and by the wild I mean an area like this, if you come across baboons on foot, they will run like the wind to get away from you. But in an area like Cape Town or the Kruger Park, where people, despite constant instruction not to, have fed them or left their food out for the baboons to steal, baboons very quickly learn that we're not nearly as terrifying as we seem to be, and then they can be dangerous, yes. Normally they will threaten before they do anything. I mean, you very seldom hear stories of baboons harming human beings, but yes, they can then be dangerous. Then the best idea is to move away. But in the wild, if you were to walk along in an area like this, there's a beautiful impala ram who's now going to leave us, I'm sure. Sorry, Phil, I've put you at a slightly awkward angle there. So those impala ram are now not territorial anymore, and you can see that they have reformed their bachelor herds, which is what the status quo will be until the next rutting season, which of course will be in May next year. There he is, chewing his cud, and we'll leave him. Right, still no luck on the elephant front. Hello, Matthew, aged 9, from Dayton Children's Hospital. I hope you're enjoying our little game drive today, your virtual visit to Africa. It's lovely to have you along. Thank you for your question. You want to know, would I ever, for the sake of entertainment, put poop in my mouth and spit it? Well, Matthew, if you can gather 10 friends around where you are who would like to see that, I will do it for you. So when you have gathered 10 friends around, you send us a tweet and I will do it for you. It won't be a carnivore dung though. I'm going to go there. Hello, Janet in Dallas. There's a lovely kudu, Phil. Just to the left. Janet, you want to know how often that airstrip is used. The answer is daily. Guests do fly in there quite often to Arathusa, and some of the other lodges have got 2 or 3 flights daily, which can become quite sort of noisy in the midday. But yeah, they're used pretty often. There's a female kudu there, and there's a young bull who's just about to walk across the road in front of us. So she's hiding behind the bush. Phil, there's the young bull's just crossing the road. There he is. You can see he's probably only about 2 years old. You can tell that from his horns, but he's already the same mass. That's quite nice. He's standing now next to an adult cow. You can see he's almost the same size as her already. So when he achieves his full height, he'll be a lot taller than her and a lot heavier. There's a whole little herd of kudu now coming to join those other two, which is very convenient because they were standing directly into the sun, which is not ideal for filming. We have one coming up now. That's a young cow. And another one coming behind. Now they, unlike the Nyala, for those of you who are new to us, or perhaps have only tuned in today, yesterday we saw quite a lot of Nyala, and we actually saw them doing their dance, which is a sort of non-confrontational show of display of, and I'm not sure if you could call it strength, but prowess, and the Nyala totally avoid any kind of physical contact if they can, But what happens with the kudu is totally different. Those bulls, here comes another cow. She was running happily towards her friends and spotted us and stopped dead. The kudu generally will fight very aggressively, and in fact there are lots of records of kudu bulls getting their horns locked together and then dying of starvation, which is quite a sad way for such a magnificent animal to end. Right, let's drive along slowly, see what we can see. If you'll excuse me for 1 minute, I'm just going to check on the radio if afternoon stations, any updates on Arathusa? Sorry, Phil, can we just get another look at the bull there? We just had a question about them. Sharon in Pittsburgh, lovely question. Can you approximate the age of a kudu from its horns? Yes, you can. That kudu has now obviously stuck his head firmly behind a bush, so we can't see. Sharon, the approximation is half a turn every year. So that kudu's got basically a full turn in his horns, and I'm afraid he's now being completely irritating. There we go. And so I would say he's about 2 years old. Right, Matthew from Dayton's Children's Hospital has managed to gather 13 friends. Kelly and Andreen as well say they would like to see me spit dung. So I guess I don't really have a choice. I will try and find some impala dung for you, and I will demonstrate bok drol spoeg. I must just remind you, kids, if you do this at home, make sure the animal is only a herbivore, grass eater, and second of all, don't forget your hygiene, wash your hands, etc., etc. Right, there we go. I've spotted some. I hope it's impala and not something larger. Right, we have a choice of two dungs here. We have a larger one in my left hand and a smaller one in my right hand. We're going to try both. We'll try the smaller one first. Here we go. Young impala dung. Try that one smaller, it wasn't very good. Right, I shall pace out the length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 meters for the small one. And now the larger one. See if we can beat 5 meters. Much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, so those of you who are able to find some dung wherever you are, you want to find something roughly that size. That seems to be the optimal spitting size, and that seems to be a not great one. If you have a particularly small mouth, you might want to try one of those. Otherwise, that's the optimal spitting size, 6 meters. If you can beat that, send me a tweet. Hashtag Safari Live or questions@wildearth.tv. I now feel nauseous and will probably be sick behind a bush. That's not in fact true. That dung tastes of nothing at all. It tastes like a bit of dry grass. Matthew, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that you enjoy that I have made a fool of myself on the internet for your sake. Right, so we're going to cross over to Brent and see what he's found. Just a reminder, possibly don't do this at home without your parents' supervision, and if you do, remember, wash your hands. See you later.
Welcome back, guys. We're at Treehouse Waterhole. I thought after those lions have had a bit of a meal and the girls might still be a bit hungry, that we might come check here first rather than going straight to where they were. They might have moved during the day to come find some water, but it doesn't look like it. So what we're going to do is going to try head now towards where those lions are, take our time a little bit. It's still quite warm, so if they haven't come this way, I'm pretty sure they're still resting, and we'll go see what they're up to. So getting to that time of day where it's possible the lions might start moving. The females are definitely still hungry. The males would have had the lion's share of that little warthog. Actually, while we're in this area, we do get a couple of questions every now and then about winter flowers. So flowers that flower in the winter. And I remembered as I came off the damn wall there that there's one very close to here. So I'm just going to scoot that way quickly and have a look at one of our winter flowers. It's a succulent as well. There's a couple of them around this area. They grow around drainage lines. It seems all the ones I've seen have been quite on the edge of a drainage line or actually in a drainage line. Just around the corner. So there's a few of them here, or two at least that I remember. One had flowers on it and the other didn't. Hadn't flowered yet. So there's one, let's have a really big one over there and then I'll show you the smaller one that's a bit closer. So it hasn't quite gone into flower yet, these two. And the one on the right, there it is. It's called a narrow-leaved calancho. I've tried to do quite a bit of research on this because the reason actually I found out about this is because Andrew put it on camera and I didn't know what it was. And I think it was RC and Raisa who sent me some information on it, just which flower it was. So I did some more research on it and unfortunately, I can't find much other information on it, even online. But the other Kalanchoe species that can possibly occur here, a lot of the leaves and the juice from that, because it is a succulent, is used for the treatment of respiratory illnesses. But I could not find anything on this one. But I'll have a closer look over here. Whoa, there we go. So some of the flowers are, oh wait, my door's in the way. Actually, I'm going to move the car a little bit closer so you're going to be able to hear me easily. More easily. How's that, Andrew? That's good. So you can see one or two of the little flowers are starting to open on this one. Really, really pretty. A nice bit of color in there as it gets drier and more gray. This little narrow-leaved Kalanchoe. Very pretty little plant. Okay, so enough with the flowers. Let's go find some kitty cats. So obviously we've been having quite a lot of speculation about where the cubs have been hidden. If they are on Djuma, I think they're in this really sort of myriad of little drainage lines and very between Mumba Road and Leadwood Road. We've lost quarantine male leopard in there a couple of times trying to follow him through those drainage lines, and that would be a really good place for the lionesses to keep those cubs. Hi, Sheila from London. Welcome on the Sunset Safari, Sheila. Sheila would like to know, do carmine bee eaters migrate to South Africa? And if so, what part of South Africa do they migrate to? They do, Sheila, and we actually get them in this area. You don't really get those big colonies here like you do in Botswana and Zimbabwe. There are some colonies up in the north of the Kruger, and they do go as far down as northern Zululand. But the low veldt is the main part of the country that they do migrate to, and also the north, center of the northern part of the country on the Botswana border. But we do get carmine bee eaters here. We actually saw quite a few when I started in the summer months. Hi, Dean from North Carolina. Dean would like to know how far a leopard sawing can be heard from. That depends on a lot. The wind can make a big difference, but from our human ears, we can probably hear them for maximum distance, probably about 5 or 6 kilometers. But obviously, leopards' hearing is much better than ours, and they can hear them from much further than that, probably up to 15, 20 kilometers even. So the lions killed the warthog up in this area, so I'm pretty sure around here somewhere. So get your spotting eye. Oh, should be around here. Let's have a look. There we go. There's the lioness in the road. Oh, look at that. Perfect timing. She looks like she's on the move. So I'm just going to call in the game drives. Make sure no one else. So I wonder where the other lion is. This doesn't look like the female that's lactating from what I can see. Stations, you look at one of the Styx Mafazi, she's mobile north on to Batalier Junction with Anyala Road south. Don't have visual of the other animals yet. So I'm going to do a quick speed around, jump up in front of her. I'm still not seeing the other lioness. I think she could definitely do with a meal after that warthog, and I'm sure she had a big hand in catching this morning. So I wonder where the two big boys are and the other lioness, but it's a good thing we came a bit earlier. They went the opposite direction I thought they were going to go, or she did at least. Scent marking, blockading territory, which is in an area that's quite traditionally in Kahuma country. Guys, she is going into a drainage line, so sometimes we do experience some signal difficulties, but I will stay with her. I'm trying to see if I can see if there's another set of tracks here that she's following, and it does look like there is another set of lion tracks here. It does look a bit old to me. moment she's being very kind, walking on the road. But I'm wondering, this is that area I just mentioned. Would be a good place to keep cubs, is off to the right here. This area is inundated with little drainage lines and doggers, great places to keep a cub. So you might have noticed I've put the vehicle into low range, and what this does is it keeps the revs low so it doesn't scare the animals, give them any threatening noises. Not that they're scared and it's in high range, it's just a bit nicer, and you can also follow them at a much more sedate speed without having to stop and start all the time. She stopped, she's listening. I hear some oxpeckers up ahead. It could possibly be any form of antelope up there. It's going to be a lion, walk for a bit, lie down, sleep for a bit. Just looking around, see if we can find a way to get around. Ah, she's caught up with the other lioness. I didn't see that. The other lioness whose tracks we saw is just around the corner. So I'm going to move the vehicle around so we can try to get a better view of both of them. Andrew, watch out. There's some branches coming. One on the left, so quite a thorny one. Just go a bit wider around. They might have moved away from those two males. They might have stayed sleeping around there somewhere. She's seen something. She just took off. I don't know what she's seen. She's running or heard something. Both of them are running now. Sorry guys, I really have to move now. Hold on, Andrew. Hold on. Both lionesses are running. I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. But both lionesses have just taken off. I'm going to try to stick with the one I can see. The one lioness I saw disappeared through here, but I've still got one here. I wonder if something might have bumped into the males. And she heard that. They're on the move. She's running now again. Don't know what they heard. So with both lionesses again, there's the one that initially started running. She definitely heard something. Or maybe even saw something with that reaction. They are hungry. I mean, they're not starving, but definitely are hungry. I'm just going to take my ears out for a second, see if I can hear what might be around us. Very, very interesting. I can only hear a little tawny flanked prinia and a fork-tailed drongo, but obviously a lion's hearing is far superior to mine. But I mean, they went from flat cat, completely flat, to running. Not full speed, but definitely fast. This female who's walking off in front of me now is sitting down. She's the lactating female, so the mother of those three little balls of cuteness. So the one risk that they do pose, I'm going to move the vehicle for you there. The one risk that is posed if they do hunt again now, I'm sure those males are no more than 100 or 200 meters away from them. So if they did catch something small again, those males would definitely rush in and steal it again. How's that? Just doing a bit of scent marking there again. Sorry guys, if anyone's wondering what that clickety-click was, just me taking a few pictures. Hi, Sarah, who's 17 from Dayton Children's Hospital. Sarah would like to know why, if the females made that kill this morning, did the males eat it all and not share? Well, Sarah, male lions being physically bigger than the females, if the opportunity arises, they will push the females off a kill. And they do this, sorry, I'm just listening again. Sorry, Sarah. Back to you. And basically, male lions, if they have the opportunity, they feel they need to take as much food as possible, is they defend the pride from other males. So, for example, this one lioness here, one of the lionesses we're watching right now, has 3 very small cubs. If new males had to come in, they would kill those cubs to get the female to come back into estrus, and so they could mate with her, and so the next set of cubs would belong to the new males rather than the old males. Lions are not very, they forget all their manners when it comes down to dinner. So that's one of the reasons and often male lions will be protecting a vast area. They are spending quite a lot of time with these 2 ladies at the moment. I think the one over here is about to come into estrus, the one who doesn't have babies, so I think that's why the males have been following them around. So hopefully both of them have cubs shortly, and then this pride can start to grow, and maybe we'll see more of them. I'm just going to move forward a little bit now that they've calmed down after that pandemonium there for a few seconds. Hello, girls. There we go. what lions do quite often is when they move, they'll move for 20 minutes or so, and then they'll lie down and they'll rest again. So hopefully they will move again quite shortly. But if not, I definitely feel it's worth staying with them. They are hungry and they might hunt. Hi Kevin, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Kevin said, is it not possible she heard her babies crying out? That's why she started running. No, Kevin, just judging from the body language, I don't think that was that. I think that was more of a prey species, possibly. And I don't think, yeah, so I think possibly more prey species. And just judging from their behavior, also if it had been the babies that close, by now she would have actually called them to her and we would have heard them and seen them. So I don't think it was the babies. I think she might have seen something or heard something that sounded like a potential meal. Or maybe she was chasing a hyena. I can never be sure. These lions are in very good condition. About 4 years old now. 2 young Styx lionesses. Oh, tired kitty after that short run. So guys, please don't forget that there is fireside chat this evening. And if the lions do start hunting and moving, obviously we will postpone it and whatnot. But for now, this fireside chat's still going on. And please, we've got some interesting clips from highlights from the week. And I know there was a lot of discussion about who's bigger, Mvula or Tingana. So if you've got any questions specifically about those two male leopards, because we have seen some great sightings of both of them this week, please send those through. And of course, also those wonderful little bundles of joy that belong to one of the ladies that's behind me. First sighting ever of those new Styx cubs, the latest addition to the sort of family around here. So we'd really like to hear from you about those two things in particular, and any other questions you might have for Fireside Chat. You're more than welcome to send them through now, and we will be seeing you next to the fire, and with James a little bit later. For now, we'll stay with these ladies, see if they move. I am quite tempted at some stage to maybe try to look for those two big males. So why don't you guys let me know, would you prefer to stay with the ladies or go look for the big boys? You can do that by emailing me at questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. There we can see that the female who's just rolled onto her back, lifted her legs, can actually see her teats there are swollen. So there's mom. Hi, Dennis from Massachusetts. Dennis would like to know how long they will stay away from their cubs. Dennis, they can stay 3 to 4 days away from their cubs. Generally not longer than that. Other than that, the cubs become hungry and might start moving around, and that's when they are very vulnerable to other predators. But generally, probably 2 days, 2 nights away, and then normally you go back on the 3rd day, and sometimes even more frequently. but they can stay up to 3, 4 days, even 5 days. Hi, John from California. John would like to know if these two lionesses are descendants of the Mapocho. I think it's a strong possibility, John, but some of our viewers out there will have a much better idea than me. I was with the Mapocho when I worked in the Sabi Sands previously, but then since then I've been in Tanzania and Zambia and Gabon, so I haven't followed as closely as some of our viewers. So if anyone does know whether these Styx lionesses are descended of the Mapocho, I suspect there's a very strong chance that they are. Could you let me know? And you can do that via email, and the email address is questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag on Safari Live on Twitter. So it seems like the general consensus is that we should go look for the big male lions. So the ladies don't look like they're moving too much. So consensus is to try to find those big males or try to find the babies. So the babies, I'm not sure where they are. It's also getting it to that time of the day that I wouldn't actually want to go bashing and crashing and try to find the babies, even if they were in the drainage line here. We don't want to interfere, and especially with animals of that age, we don't put spotlights and things like that. So I'm going to go have a look for the males. Have I got movement behind me? Oh, hello, girls. Or we might stay with these two if they're going to hunt. Or we're just going to flop down over there. Yes, I thought as much. Okay, so let's go see if we can find those big boys. Hi, Rennie from Detroit. Rennie would like to know, do the lionesses, when they make a kill, take the bring the kill back to the cubs? Unfortunately not, they don't. Rennie would also like to know, how do they survive in terms of water and food if they're left alone for a few days? Well, a predator like a lion, its milk is very, very rich and full of nutrients. So at this age that they are at the moment, about 2.5 months, 2.5 months, they actually get almost all their sustenance from their mother's milk, and that will last them for the days that they are away. And when they're a bit older, when they make a kill, depending on the size of the kill, the females will actually go back to where the cubs have been left, and then walk them back to where the kill is. still fascinating what that she could have chased off there. So let's go see if we can find those big males, see what they're up to. So we might have a little bit of signal problems as I just quickly scoot through the drainage line. So bear with us for a few seconds. So I'm pretty sure maybe those male lions aren't too far away from where we first saw that female. I got a sneaky suspicion they might have moved down into the drainage where it was cooler after they finished snacking that warthog. What I'm going to try to do is, if we have enough time, if the male lion, I'll have a quick look at them, and then I'll go show what's left of that warthog after two male lions have finished eating it. Here we go. Two very lazy lions lying in the nice cool sand of the riverbed as we predicted. I don't think they're going to be moving anytime soon if they are still in that posture when it is this temperature. Okay, so I've just come up a bit. I'm sorry about that. There's a bit of picture breaks, but these two lions are lying right in the center of the Mawati drainage line, which does cause some signal issues for us. So I've just climbed up the bank, and as you can see, that is quite a funny sight. Look at them lying in the tire tread, using it as sort of a bed, keeping them nice and straight, and those nice fat bellies up to the cool air. This is quite a strange sighting. Lazy lions. And even got a bemused look on his face. He looks very comfortable there. On his back. And there's that fat tummy. And there's the next one. Foot in the face. He doesn't seem to mind too much. So, as I said, lazy lions doesn't look like they're going to be doing too much right now. So, I think we're going to go shoot up to where that warthog kill was. We'll spend a few more minutes here looking at them, and then I can show you what two male lions leave of a warthog. So that's hairy belly, and there's the ginger male. So guys, remember, it's fireside chat this evening. We're just going to have a nice discussion about Mvula and Tingana, since we've had such nice sightings of both those males this week. And so you just send any questions you have about those males through to us for the fireside chat, and you can do that by emailing questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. The other thing we're going to be focusing on is the new arrivals to the WildEarth and Juma family, the new Styx cubs, those 3 little bundles of joy we saw for the first time a few days ago. Very, very exciting to have little lion cubs around. Really wonderful, and hopefully we'll get to watch them grow up without too many problems, but you must remember that lions have a very high mortality rate at a young age, because they are left alone, and that's when they are most vulnerable to animals like hyenas and leopards and wild dogs and cheetah. We will definitely kill lion cubs if they come across them without the mothers present. Hi, Karen from Ohio. Welcome on the Sunset Safari, Karen. Seems like Karen and I were thinking the same way there. I was just mentioning about what animals kill lion cubs, and Karen was asking that. So thanks very much for that, Karen. We're on the same wavelength. There's that big paw. Well, lazy lions, we might see you a little later. Let's go have a look at what's left of that warthog carcass quickly. So sorry guys, I have to go back through that drainage line again, so we might get a few little hiccups, but I'll try to do it as fast as possible. Okay, so they haven't moved far from where they devoured that warthog, and you can see there's not much left. Sorry guys, we're just having a branch caught our aerial there, and it got one of the ropes. Andrew and I are just trying to fix it quickly, so if you see that tree shaking, it's just us trying to hook the antenna back up. There we go. There we go. Well done, Andrew. Sorry about that. One of the things about being off-road and in the bush. I don't know if you can see there, Andrew. We can't really move the car to give you a better view just yet. But I mean, that is all that's left of a warthog carcass. after 2 big male lions. So with the male lions, those huge and strong jaws, they've crunched through those bones. So, and if we have a look a little bit further out, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Cool. So over here, we have a look. This is the stomach content, the undigested grasses that were there. And then I've got a piece of a leg bone, a piece of the jaw, and what looks like a piece of a scapula. I'll come show you those a little bit closer now. So I'm going to pop them on the dashboard here. Much easier for you to see. So how incredible is that? That is all that is left of a warthog. Judging just from what is left that we couldn't really see so well, it's a female, an adult female, judging from the teeth. And you can see there's still a bit of fresh meat on here. Very little. They would have licked all those pieces of meat left. And there we've got, it looks like one of the leg bones, and they've broken it open to get, oopsie, the marrow as well. So very little that goes to waste. And even these bones are going to be eaten by something else now, whether it be hyenas or a porcupine or giraffe trying to get some calcium, or even a nyala. So incredible. Now we're going to have a look at what possibly played out here. So quite an interesting thing. I'll show you what I think happened. You're not going to be able to hear me. I'm just going to be a little bit off the vehicle. But so this is where that was eaten. But I think where it happened was out towards that termite mound there. So just imagine I'm the warthog. And dead. So I think it was just really, really unlucky timing for that warthog. It was early in the morning, and that warthog would have been would have checked either side as it came out of that hole, and then they come out at quite a rush, and I think that warthog just rushed straight into lions. Really, really unlucky if you're that pig. But it does look like there were other warthogs in there. But they might have escaped, and that might have been the last one, the unlucky one. The lions might have seen the others coming out and moved into the area, and the last one they could have caught. But really, really fascinating. Let Andrew, we'll show you the hole now. We'll get a bit closer. There's the warthog hole. So, you can have a look here. Normally I wouldn't stand in front of a warthog hole in case something came barreling out of it, but I'm quite sure there's nothing in this one. So you can see it's freshly used, a lot of tracks around, and very fresh tracks from this morning. It looks like quite a small one. I don't think there are too many warthog that could have fitted into here. It goes round. In my younger days, when I was a bit mad in the head, I used to climb down those things to see what they looked like after I knew things had gone. But fortunately, I'm a bit older and wiser these days. There's Herder Franklin there. So we're going to start slowly making our way towards the fireside and join James. Go. What a fantastic day it's been. Even though the gremlins played havoc with us early on, we managed to get out there, even if it was a little bit late. And we managed to see that amazing male lion feeding on that poor little pig. As you can see, there's almost nothing of that pig left. So I'm pretty sure all these lions are not going to have moved much yet. So we're going to start meandering back towards the fire. Just gonna let the game drives know what's happening, and I'll line at junction with Matimba Road. The two Styx my fuzzies cross at Lear Road, and then are now probably 100, not even 60 meters to the south on the eastern bank of the Matimba. Oh, it's getting a bit nippy. Let me just pop my jacket on. Hi, Deb from Ohio. Deb would like to know, would the warthogs now completely abandon that hole because of what's happened there, or would they ever return to it? Deb, I think they would abandon it for a while, but in the end I think they would possibly return to using it, but possibly not for the next couple of weeks. Wrapping up, it's getting chillos. That's a bit better. Nice and warm. Hi, John from Connecticut. Welcome on the Sunset Safari. Good to have you with us, John. John would like to know, how old are the Matimba males now? John, as far as I think they're around 12 years old, if my memory serves me correct. So they are sort of getting to the end of their prime, but they do look in very good condition at the moment. But there are some young males around that might possibly start pushing them in the next couple of months to a year. So we've got a question from Charlie. He said, I said, we will see you just now. Apparently he's never heard this before. It is very much a South Africanism. We have quite a few. Just now, now. So when I see you, I'll see you just now. It's not now, but it's just now. In about half an hour, 45 minutes. And it very varies on who you're speaking to. Now is now, that immediately. So we'll see you now. We're going to be there in the next sort of 5 minutes. But if I see you just now, I'm going to be there in about 20 minutes to half an hour. So a very, very common South Africanism. I don't think anyone else in the world uses those words like we do. Thanks very much for that, Charlie. What a wonderful evening. Looking forward to seeing what those lions have been up to in the morning as well. Get onto the tracks. And hopefully we get some leopard tracks as well. Very exciting time in the morning. Looking at all the new tracks, seeing what's been happening overnight. Setting up the afternoon. So quite often what we do is when you find something in the morning and it's got nice fresh tracks to follow, there's a lot of the big cats in that. They don't move that much during the day. And we'll find out, and even if we find a lot of the tracks in the area and we not manage to find it in the afternoon, we'll definitely have a good idea where to start looking in the evening when they might start moving. Hi, Gilly from Wisconsin. Nice to have another question from you, Gilly. Gilly would like me to keep on with the lion imitations today and asked me if I could do a cub call. Okay, Gilly, let's do this. So there's quite a few different ones, but let's stick to what we know for now. So that sort of age we've just seen now, that sort of begging call for milk and sort of a, ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow. And when they get a bit upset, ow, ow, when they're fighting over the teats when they're nursing, ow, ow. But it is a really, really cute sound coming from those tiny little things that are going to turn into Africa's sort of apex predator. Ow. Very nice call. Ow. Hi, Suzanne from Alabama. Suzanne would like to know if the warthog female had piglets, would the other warthogs look after them? Definitely not, but very unlikely. They would probably abandon them. They would take to rearing their own young, not someone else's. Very harsh nature, but unfortunately that is the way it goes out here in the bush. Survival of the fittest, eat or get eaten. As we're approaching, getting a bit closer to the campfire now. I hope James has made a nice fire for me. Oh, amazing! I'm not going to go too close because it is quite dark. I just saw this crowned lapwing and she had her wings down. I know it's a bit dark and I don't want to put a light on it, but there we go. She had 3 little guys under her wings as we drove up, but in the middle of the road, and they're all making their way back towards her now. So there's one of the little baby crowned lapwing. So those must be a couple of days old. Tiny little guys. See, running back to mom. So it's unbelievable how camouflaged those little guys are when they lie down. They look exactly like sort of pebbles and stones or grass. Here we go, back to mom. Just going to lead them off to a slightly safer spot. Come, children, come. Oh, she's chasing the starling, even though the starling actually doesn't pose much of a threat to her little ones. There we go, all three now. See how they, look at that thing. Next one, up under the wing. Chop. And then, no, she's not ready yet. But when she decides to sleep, they'll actually sleep under her wings during the night for warmth more than anything else. Isn't that sweet? Andrew doing a fantastic job in this low light. Let's just see what happens here for a little bit longer. Seems like mom's not quite ready to settle down yet. Seems to be, she's found a spot of insects, so the little ones are just following her around for the moment. Sweetness. So everyone, we're going to cross over to James, who's waiting at the fire, and I'm going to scoot along as fast as I can to go join him. So we'll see you just now, which means in a few minutes.